Week 8 in the books. What a week it was. 'Cause all of the weeks are awesome in this league. We will get into the recap. We'll get into the standings. We'll get into everything that there is to get into. We got some great matchups coming up this week. Playoff picture starting to take shape. We got some must-wins. We're calling them must-wins for a couple teams here moving forward. But we'll always hear from our winner and our loser. We'll start with our winners because they win, they get to go first. So, Noto beat me 20 points. I was the third highest scorer. Wasn't enough to get it done. You came into a buzzsaw. Team made great by Jack Caruso. What do you got for us?
Well, boys. Who would have thought we would be here? The best player among us reporting in boots on the ground of 1222 North Cleveland Street. So just want to say thank you to everyone for doing so shitty this week. I really am the best player now that I got the greatest deal in the history of deals from Jack. And a little known fact about that is he was the one who offered it to me. And so I just want everyone to clown him and know that he's the reason that everyone else is going to lose the league. My team's crazy. Let's go down the list. So Jared had a pretty good week, but 161. 22 Baker, 23 Bijan, 28 James Cook, Jigba, Jamar Chase, 20. The players I got from Jack combined for 70, if I'm doing the math right there. 70. Thanks, Jack. Shout out you. For Brian Robinson, Lamar, and fucking Laporta. That was such a bad deal. Just going down the list, Mooney 18, Leggett, I literally didn't know that Jennings wasn't playing, so had to sub in Leggett as a late add, and of course he got a touchdown. So everybody, you're welcome for beating Jared. His team is gross, but I promise you he's going to get injuries, and I just don't know when they're coming, but they will come. Few league-wide shout-outs. Stern, I think you and I are have an inverse relationship. It seems whenever you're good, I'm bad, and it's my turn now, so have fun at the bottom of the barrel for the rest of the season and seasons to come. Omar, I know you want Michael Pittman, so I expect you to be in my DMs after this with trade requests, especially now that Anthony Richardson is benched. I already texted you about it. Please respond to me. I'll probably be seeing Jared in the final because everybody's team sucks, except for mine. But, thank you guys, and Char, I'll be expecting that Venmo anytime you want, pal.
I'll say a couple things about Noto's video. 1, love the move calling Char pal. That's a power move, as always. 2, yes, Jack is an idiot. 3, love the shout to 1222. Yes, Noto's team put up 160, highest score, looking like a wagon. No weak spots except for the defense this last week, but we'll get into it. We always do. But Noto, yes, 4-4, 5th place, looking like a dark horse. The next guy should look a little familiar at this point of the season. We've done this 7 weeks. He's been featured 4 times. Jack's been featured twice. Sammy's been featured once. So, been tough sledding for a select few group of people. Stern, it's been a rough year. I appreciate you sending these videos in, man. It means a lot, but what do you got for us this week?
Hey everyone, it's me again. My team scored the lowest amount of points in fantasy again. My team is getting decimated by injuries. It's like a graveyard of injured players, dead players who no longer play. Patrick Mahomes is putting my brain in a blender. I don't know whether to start him or Caleb Williams week to week, so that sucks. Mark Andrews coming alive finally. But other than that, my team just stinks, and I'm really sad. And I think, like Joe Burrow said, I got to win 7 out of the next 9 to make the playoffs, so maybe I can go on a run. Start off this week with Jack's team. Hopefully I can get a win there. We'll see. All right.
Yes, it definitely has not been a great season for Stern. Someone who is historically at the top of the standings finds himself all the way at the bottom. The only team who has not broken 800 points. He is less than a point off, but still has not broken 800 points, which means he's averaging less than 100 a week. That's quick maths for you right there. Standing, since we're talking about it, we got me and Sean, both 6-2. I'm in first with the point differential, but Sean is about 60-ish points behind me. And then we have Char and Sky, both at 5-3 somehow. And then we have Noto and Sammy, both at 4-4. And then we have Omar and Log, both 3-5. And then we have Jack and Stern at 2-6. So it's very interesting. Two teams at every record ranging from 2-6 to 6-2. I think that's the first time I've ever seen that, which is pretty interesting. We go to our points 4. I'm in first, followed by Sean. Noto is in third, followed by Sammy, followed by Char, followed by Omar, followed by Log. Sky is in fourth place, but he's at third lowest in scoring. And then Jack is second to last, and Stern is last. So, for the most part, it's pretty representative, but there are some outliers, which I'm sure will correct themselves as the season continues on. We'll get into the recaps. We'll get into the matchup recaps. I went 3-2 on predictions, which I don't think any of you guys actually care about, but I'm 23-17 on the year. Omar's the only one I'm not batting at least 500 with, so we'll have to correct that soon. But yes, 23-17. We've climbed our way back from a rough start. So we'll get into the first matchup, which was Sean and Omar, so final score 131-126, favor of Sean. It was a 5-point win, but honestly, this came down to the last play with the Bears and the Commies game, because Sean had Scary Terry, who caught that 12-yard pass where the Bears decided not to play any defense, which gave him an extra point to push him over. And Omar also had Cole Kmet, who you had to be worried about him catching the ball if you were Sean. And then Omar also had the Bears defense, which got -3. They did not have -3 before that Hail Mary. The Hail Mary put them way, way more negative. So, yeah. Crazy. Unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Sean actually looks like... Did he win by... Okay, so he still would have won if he would have played the 49ers defense. 49ers had 8. Lions had 5. He won by 5.2. So he still would have won, but he did play the right defense. Jordan Love obviously gets injured. Didn't look great against the Jaguars even before he got injured. Kamara had a great week. Jacobs had a great week. Scary Terry looked great. Not a very good week from Kenneth Walker. The Seahawks really just couldn't do anything against Buffalo. Tyreek with 13, which was, for him, not as bad as he has been. It was his highest scoring game since week 1 when he scored 26. Ramondre with 23 on the bench. So, he's got some lineup decisions. Actually, he doesn't, because Stephon Diggs tore his ACL and is done for the year. So I'm sure he's just going to slide Ramondre back into that second flex. But yeah, Sean loses a guy to injury, which is a huge bummer. But the rest of his team's obviously looking very solid. He might be down Jordan Love as well with the injured groin. On Omar's side of it, Kirk and Kelsey were really, his best players. Kirk with 28, Kelsey with 25. And then he had JJ with 19, Zay Flowers with 18. Both his running backs scored 14.7. Cole Kmet disappointed. And Rashad Bateman with 4. And then the Bears defense with -3. So, tough sledding for Omar. Sean gets a great win. Apologies for the cut there and the delay. I realized I have another video to record after this, and it's going to be a while. So, I want to shower, get some water, get fully locked in, because I got about an hour left of uploading and talking. So, let's lock in, shall we? But yes, that was the first matchup. Second matchup, Sky, Jack, Sky. Second highest score, Jack, 126. Which surprisingly, we had 3 teams score 126 this week. So Jack was about middle of the pack. He's 2-6. He's gotten a little unlucky the last couple weeks, so we'll give him that. 126 the week before would have been one of the higher scores. This week, much higher scores across the league. Everyone broke 100. Sky was really it was just CD and Jalen was his whole team. I mean, Jalen had 35 and CD had 40. So, you're going to win a lot when 2 guys score 85 points. Najee was 16, Tank Bigsby with 10, Kincaid with 13, Olave looked good. Started Trey Palmer, who woke up feeling dangerous but did not score a touchdown, and then DeAndre with 4.9. I know Sky is very pumped that Richardson got benched because now Josh Downs is relevant. I'm sure he will plug him into the starting lineup over Trey Palmer moving forward. Sky's team 5-3, definitely had his ups and downs. Definitely, upset about the way things have shaken up. He's lost some very good players, but he's still 5-3, and you're not going to apologize for 5-3. He's in fourth place. Jack, like I said, 126. Takes an L, still in ninth place. He has tiebreaker on Stern, which is good for him. We don't have a last place punishment currently, but I will be implementing a last place punishment moving forward to keep everyone involved. So Jack was led by Lamar with 24 points, Joe Mixon with 23, Calvin Ridley with 22, Sam Laporta finally had a good game with 16, Wandale with 8, Devontae with 9, Devontae stinks, and Romeo Dubes with 10. You wanted more from Dubes, I think, in that situation against Jacksonville, but you're not going to play him with 10. Keon Coleman looks like he's really coming into form, 18 points on his bench. And Cortland Sutton, who I believe he traded back to Omar. I'm just going to put this out there. You guys need to have a limit on how many times you guys are allowed to trade the same player back and forth, because I know it's funny, but it's starting to get annoying. And I don't like it, so that needs to stop. Okay. And that about covers that matchup right there. Then we had Sammy and Stern. Been a rough season for Stern. I'll just say that Sammy, 4-4. He's back at 500. His team is very good for a team that's middle of the pack in scoring. His issue, he has a lot of depth, and he always plays the wrong people. Brees with only 10 this week. Dave Montgomery with 15. Malik Neighbors with 14, Pickens with 11. He had a touchdown call back too. Kittle with 25, and Debo with 13, then Dobbins with 17. So, people were giving Sammy a hard time about the Dobbins trade. Mostly, I think it was Sky that was giving him a hard time. I think Noto too. But Dobbins has been solid. 17 points. He's a top 20 running back. He's been a very good floor for Sammy, who I think just needs the consistency, which is good. And BTJ might not play. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. on the bench. I don't know who Sammy starts over him. I started Rashad White over him in another league, which was obviously a mistake, but it is what it is. Stern does break 100 this week. Shakir with 20, Aaron Jones with 11, Chuba with 9, Mark Andrews with 14, Christian Kirk done for the year, Nico Collins on IR. T. Higgins didn't play. Zamir White has been atrocious. Carson Steele lost his job at Kareem Hunt. So rough sledding, really rough sledding. Stern talked about it, but yeah, Mahomes just isn't a good fantasy QB this season. I think he's the 19th QB. He's the 21st QB. Caleb Williams, obviously, against the Commies secondary, you hope he had a better game, but 9 points. What were the Bears doing calling that handoff to the lineman? Horrible play. This is a pretty mad matchup, but Sammy gets the win, 126-101. Another undeserved win for Char. I think over the past couple weeks, Char's gotten a lot of wins that he's barely squeaked by, and he's got lucky with his matchups. 116-111 was the final, him and Log. This candidly was like a must-win for Log. He's 3-5, and his schedule looks a little rough coming up. He can lose 1-2 games max and still get in the playoffs, but it's going to be rough sledding. He loses all fantasy viability with Jordan Mason with their bye this week, and then CMC potentially coming back the week after. Rough sledding ahead for Log, I think. But Char gets the 5-point win. He gets lucky because Jordan Mason gets hurt, doesn't go back in. DJ Moore, so boom or bust. Like I said, it's either 5 or 25. He gets 5 this week. Kareem Hunt with 13. Jahmyr Gibbs with 20. Jonathan Taylor, he gets him back. That was very nice for him to have him back with 18. Char just cannot seem to play the right guys. That's his issue, is every week he's playing the wrong guys. Lad McConkey with 29 on the bench. Devontae Smith with 20 on the bench. He starts DJ Moore and Jaden Reed at 5 and 7 respectively. But it doesn't matter. He gets the win. He squeaks by Log. Log, basically, his bottom 3 people really let him down. The Jets defense. The Jets in general are horrible. They're a horrible franchise. They're dog water, and they deserve nothing good. Jordan Mason obviously gets hurt, and then Amari disappoints. Kyle Pitts with 25 on his bench. That's tough, too. Cedric Tillman with 28. You were never going to start Cedric Tillman, but 28 on the bench, you hate to see. If he would have started literally anyone on his bench for his second flex, or even Amari Cooper, one of his 2 flexes, he wins this game. That's he just had to make one right decision, and he didn't, and that's why he's 3-5. Bummer for Log, But yeah, Log 3 and 5, 8th place. Char 5 and 3, 3rd place. Me and Noto, this was the highest scoring combined matchup. I was the 3rd highest scorer. Took the L with 137. Noto drops 160 on my head. That was not fun. I'll say it. I didn't like getting scored 160 points on me. Drake London really disappointed for me this week. I really needed him to have a big game with how many points Noto was scoring, especially because Darnell Mooney outscored him by 11. Tough one. Kyron was great. Jaden was great. Kate Otten was amazing. Cooper Kupp looked good in his first game back. DeAndre Swift with 18 as well. Tyrone Tracy, you got to find a way to get him in the lineup. Brian Thomas, you got to find a way to get him in the lineup too. So I'm having some issues with my start decisions as well. It's not just Char. And Ricky Pearsall, 11 points. You take that from a guy off the waivers. That's pretty solid. Noto, obviously, just had a really good week. Leggett even scored. Obviously, our defenses cancel each other out, but he had 5 people top 20 with Baker, Bijan, James Cook, Jamar, and Trey McBride. So, Jack, legitimately the worst trade I've ever seen in my entire life. I still don't know what you were thinking. If you could please explain one more time the vision you were trying to see. I literally don't understand it at all. You just made Noto into a good team, and now you're at the bottom of the standing. So you were the reason I want to do a last place punishment for next year, candidly. And that was our week from last week. So we'll get into the matchups this week. Obviously, me and Omar, everyone knows that Omar wanted to put $100 on my matchup with him at the beginning of the year before we even drafted. So this is a big week for us. We only play each other once a year, which makes our matchups all the more fun. But we're getting a lot of teams who have already, so every matchup here, the teams have played each other already, except for me and Omar. It's our first time playing. So first matchup, we got Sean and Sky. Let me get my spreadsheet pulled up. Okay, we got Sean and Sky. Sky is an underdog by about 20 points, which is not good. Not good for Sky. Sean won their previous matchup. They played in week 5. Sean won 141-87, so he beat the brakes off of Sky. Sean, rolling with the Commanders D this week. Sean's been good at picking the correct defenses each week. If you go back and look at it, he streams defenses, and they normally do a pretty good job for him, which I'm sure has got him a couple wins. He gets Puka back just as he loses Stephon Diggs to injury. So I was wrong about Ramondre being slotted in. I forgot that he had Puka on his IR. Kamara against the Panthers is obviously in for a huge week this week. He picked up Malik Willis off waivers, which I guess he's going to roll with him if Jordan Love misses. I'm sure you could find something better, but Sean's a ride or die Packers fan. He's going to go down with the ship. Then he's got Josh Jacobs, Scary Terry, and Njoku's been great. And Kenneth Walker is probably going to have a really big day against a really bad Rams rush defense. On Sky's side, dude. Okay, so last week he was starting both Steelers running backs. He's currently starting both Jaguars running backs, which is hilariously hilarious. That's how hilarious it is. Jalen's obviously going to have a great day against Jacksonville. And then he's got Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby. And then CD's very good. Olave will probably have a good day against Carolina because Carolina's horrible. Kincaid slotting into the tight end spot. Deontay in Baltimore now. And then D-Hop. I know this is a 6-2, 5-3 matchup, but I don't really see this being close, candidly. If you're starting 2 Jaguars running backs, same thing if you're starting 2. Basically, the only team where I think you could get away with starting 2 running backs on the same team is the Lions. If you're doing it for any other team, it's not going to work out. I mean, Omar tried it with Derrick Henry and Justice Hill. Didn't work out the week that he tried it. I don't foresee this going very well for Sky, but does he literally not have another running back? I mean, he could play Devin Singletary. Maybe he'll plug in Devin Singletary if Tyrone Tracy misses and he didn't practice today. So maybe he gets back in the lineup, but we'll see. It's not going to change my prediction. Sean's going to take this one. Our next matchup is Logan and Noto. They previously did play. They played week 1 where Log played Noto before his team got good. He won by a score of 122-108. Noto is about a 3-point favorite here, which seems low, but I'm dubbing this a must-win for Log. He cannot drop to 3-6 if he wants to keep his season alive. He really needs to get a win here. And his team is candidly not looking super threatening. I know he keeps sending in the chat that, Brock Bowers is available for trade. I asked him who he wanted from Brock Bowers. He said Cooper Kupp. Like, get real, Log. What are we doing? Kyler, Akane, Connor, Garrett Wilson, AJ Brown, Bowers, Xavier Worthy getting the start. That's definitely the wrong decision somehow. It's like whatever decision he makes in his two flexes, it will be the wrong decision. That's been the type of season logs have been having. I think he's lost 3 in a row, all within 5 points. Like, pretty crazy. He gets heartbreaking loss after heartbreaking loss. Noto, pulling Baker from the starting lineup this week. Baker has been the QB2 on the year, but he's got Kansas City, and he's without his 2 best weapons. Going with Bo Nix, who has been on a tear over the past few weeks from a fantasy perspective. Bijan, obviously. James Cook, obviously. Darnell Mooney's been great off the waivers. Jamar's been very solid, obviously. He's the wide receiver 1. Trey McBride's been very good. And then Tank Dell and Nick Chubb rounding it out. So, Jawan Jennings on bye this week. Maybe he plugs JS in over Chubb. Maybe he plugs Pittman in now that Anthony Richardson is benched. I'm not sure. I'm sure that lineup's going to fluctuate, but I can't really think it's probably a little under the projections for what he will actually score because he's been on a tear recently. I am dubbing this a must-win for Log, but I don't think he gets it. I think Noto takes this one. Basically ends Log's season, but because Log's not going to win out. It's very unlikely. But okay, Char and Sammy. These two teams have played each other. Char 5-3, Sammy 4-4. They played in week 5, where Char won 136-84. So it was a butt whooping. Some would say. I would say that. Char. Devontae Smith getting in the starting lineup. DJ Moore staying in the starting lineup. And he's got Gibbs, Kareem Hunt, JT, Evan Ingram, who's definitely going to get more targets with Christian Kirk definitely being out. And maybe with BTJ being out. Jaden Reed, I'm sure he's going to turn it around at some point. I think if I'm Char and Jordan Love doesn't play, maybe we don't play Jaden Reed because I don't know how well Malik Willis can throw the ball. I think they're just going to run the ball the whole time. He has the bench depth with Lad McConkey and Addison and Rashad, who log dropped. Sammy, projected for 128. He's got Pickens, Kittle, and Debo on bye, which for most people will be an issue, but for Sammy, probably not because he has so much depth. And that is assuming that DK plays this week. I'm not sure if DK is going to play. He didn't practice today, but they said they're optimistic about it. Marvin Harrison Jr. getting back in the starting lineup. Malik Neighbors in the starting lineup. Dave Montgomery's been solid. Breece Hall's been very good. And then Sam Darnold, who's been fine from a fantasy perspective. You got the Texans defense off waivers. I put in a claim for them too. Didn't get them. That's probably going to be a good play against the Jets because Aaron Rodgers is horrible. This is going to be close. I know ESPN's saying that they're going to take Char here. I think Char's gotten lucky a few times. I think maybe he doesn't get as lucky this week. I think Sammy probably takes this one. I'm assuming DK's playing. Obviously, I can't predict the future, but I'm going to assume DK plays, and I'm going to write Sammy down in those hopes that DK plays. So Sammy over Char. That's an upset pick. We're taking it this week. Okay. All right, we got a toilet bowl matchup, 9th and 10th place. Jackson, 11-point favorite. They did play week 1 where Jack won by a score of 128-83. So all of these matchups were previous matchups, and none of them were close. Stern's team, it's just tough. Like, T. Higgins didn't practice again today. I don't know. That guy is the frailest guy of all time. He's always dealing with soft tissue stuff. Never healthy. But, he really needs him back this week because he doesn't have any other options outside of Carson Steele on the bench. I'm assuming he's probably going to hit the waivers if T. Higgins doesn't play, but I don't really see Stern ever making waiver claims. I'm not sure if he knows how they work. Stern, you can pick up people who are not on rosters of other teams, and then you can add them to your team. So that's how that works. But Stern, 2-6, tough sledding. Christian Watson in. I don't think he's startable if Jordan Love doesn't play either. So very rough sledding. Jack is still rostering Anthony Richardson for some reason, who was just benched. Doesn't have Keon Coleman in. He's starting Wan'Dale Robinson over him, which I think is questionable. Brian Robinson Jr. is obviously solid. Joe Mixon's been unbelievable since he's been back. But Jack's wide receivers are horrible. I mean, he could really use a guy like Jamar Chase to turn this locker room around because they have no senior leadership on this squad right now. They're very lackluster. I think this is going to be the toilet bowl matchup of the week. I don't think either of these guys are going to score that many points. But I think Ben's going to lose. Ben's not going to take it. I was writing his name down. I think Jack's going to take this, but it's going to be like 115 to like 80. Okay. This is the marquee matchup, me and Omar. I'm excited. I'm a 25-point favorite. Those are not my numbers. Those are ESPN's numbers. I am the highest scorer projected for the week. Sean comes in at 141 behind me. I'm projected for 153, which is very high, which scares me a little bit because I don't think I'm going to actually score that many points. So a little scary. Love to see it. BTJ and Tyrone Tracy are probably not going to play this week, which honestly makes my life a lot easier with decisions. Kate Otten, he's getting the start over Jake Ferguson. He was unbelievable last week. He's Baker's favorite target now. Jaden, obviously, love that guy. Saquon got vultured 3 times last week, which sucked, but he's still unbelievable. Swift has been awesome since his first 3 games. He's scoring at least 18 like every week. Amon-Ra, they didn't need him at all last week, which sucked from a fantasy perspective, but he's a wide receiver 11. Probably should have taken JJ over him looking back, but wanted to save floor. Drake London, wide receiver 5. Cooper Kupp, happy to get him back. And then Kyron, obviously, the Seahawks defense hasn't been good. Vikings defense, a little concerned that Flacco is going to be starting, candidly, but they're a really good defense. I'm happy to start him. Okay, yeah, so I guess Omar does have Cortland Sutton back because he's starting him this week. Rashad Bateman finds his way to the bench after the Ravens trade for Deontay. He's got Cole Kmet on the bench too, so he's going with Kelsey. And he's got Zay Flowers, JJ, Tony Pollard against New England. That's unfortunate because New England's horrible. But Tajay Spears might be back. Maybe he'll take some snaps. Derrick Henry against Denver, who Denver's defense is very good. So I'm gonna hope that their defense can kind of halt the Ravens' offense a little bit. And then Kirk Cousins, who I think Omar got him off the waivers. He's been playing well. He's projected for 19 points going against Dallas, who's horrible. I think he probably will outscore those projections, candidly. There I am saying candidly. But I think he will outscore those projections. But, I'm a 25-point favorite. It's hard to pick against someone who's a 25-point favorite. I'll be honest with you guys. I know I pick myself most weeks here. I did say last week that I had a feeling that Noto was going to pop off, and he did. But that's where we're at. We're going to take me. But honestly, Omar could use the money more than I could. So, we're going to do it live, but this is Rivalry Week, baby. We're here. We love it. I'm pumped to play Omar this week. I hope he gets a day off from the hospital so we can watch the games. But other than that about wraps me for the week. I appreciate you guys watching, and I apologize that it's 30 minutes later than I said it would be. That's mainly to Char because I know he likes watching these with dinner. But other than that, hit me up for trades. As long as you're not log asking for Cooper Kupp for Brock Bowers. And other than that, I got nothing. Love you guys.